It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker this morning. In Rudy Winter's more than 30-year tenure at National Grid and its legacy companies, he has served in several senior and operational roles, most recently as Chief Operating Officer of the company's wholesale networks and capital delivery business. In that role, he oversaw businesses with an asset base of $5 billion, including one of the largest electric transmission networks in the Northeast. New England's first large-scale battery energy storage system, generation plants, and the development and construction of complex capital projects. Rudy has also held senior positions of responsibility in National Grid shared services, customer operations, strategic planning, engineering, and operations. Please welcome President of National Grid New York, Rudy Winter.
Good morning. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, John, for the kind words. I'm really happy to be here with all of you today. You know, it is Climate Week. And it's UN Week. We have a lot of visitors in New York, but I know this room is filled with New Yorkers who spend quite a bit of time thinking about how we make sure we have a just energy transition in this great state. I'm Rudy Winter. I'm president of National Grid New York, and we have the privilege of serving over 4 million customers across the state, whether it's homes on Long Island, bodegas in Brooklyn, or chip fab manufacturers in upstate New York. We have to make sure we're providing them safe, reliable energy, and increasingly making sure that it is clean energy each and every day. As Julie mentioned, New York has some of the most ambitious climate goals in the nation. At National Grid, we're proud to do our part in playing a role for New York's energy transition. We're committed to building a stronger, safer, smarter clean energy system. When you look at the CLCPA, we have to make sure we are delivering on those goals while balancing our responsibility to provide affordable and reliable service to all customers across New York. Meeting New York's clean energy goals will not be easy. We have to make sure we're generating more renewable energy. We have to make sure that the grid is able to transmit all of that energy. It won't be easy, but it can be done. It can be done with a lot of coordination, a lot of planning, and in many cases, a lot of investments to make that happen. As one of New York's largest utilities, we have the privilege of making sure that our electric customers in upstate New York, just under 2 million of them, get clean, reliable electricity every day. And we're also responsible making sure our customers in downstate New York find ways to electrify and find ways to decarbonize affordably. And we're already seeing some meaningful progress. 41% of all community solar in New York State is connected to our networks in upstate New York. In downstate New York, our partners at National Grid Ventures have built the Calverton solar project with NextEra. That's powering over 4,000 homes with solar energy on Long Island. And also in New York City, they're bidding on offshore wind in a partnership with RWE through a joint venture called Community Offshore Wind. And back in the utility, we are investing in the transmission that's going to be needed across New York to move clean energy around this state. Between now and 2030, we'll be upgrading over 1,000 miles of transmission to ensure that it's delivering clean energy across the state. Additionally, we run one of the largest EV make-ready programs outside of the state of California. Our goal is to make sure that New York and upstate New York has at least 16,000 EV charging ports by the year 2025. And thanks to the hard work of all the people in this room, we were able to, at this last legislative session, pass legislation that adds another critical tool in our clean energy toolkit, thermal energy networks. New York's unique coalition of advocacy groups, labor, and utilities made that happen. That was a huge win, but it was only the first step. Now we have to make sure, as John mentioned, that it is implemented, and implemented quickly. Thermal energy networks will play a critical role in National Grid's plan of how do we decarbonize the heating sector in New York. Heating homes and heating businesses account for nearly a quarter of all carbon emissions. So using all the tools available to us to decarbonize that will be critical. Creating these heating loops will be used to heat buildings that are going to be difficult to electrify. And we have some experience with this. In 2017, we've started doing some pilots on Long Island where we did 10 homes in a joint venture and a demo project with NYSERDA to do some network geothermal out there. And we've submitted 3 different pilots to the Public Service Commission to consider for utility thermal energy networks here in New York. In Brooklyn, that pilot calls for linking up 3 NYCHA buildings with a commercial building nearby to decarbonize heating in housing. In upstate New York, in Troy and Syracuse, we'll be looking at alternative models. In the city of Troy, we'll just act as a distribution company. The city of Troy will own the bore well and the resources that the geothermal comes from. In Syracuse, we'll be looking at doing waste heat from a wastewater treatment facility, putting that in a thermal energy network for heating and cooling as well. The point of all these pilots are to advance considerations on various ownership models, various thermal resources, and different utility structures. We look forward to providing more details to the Public Service Commission so we can move forward with these groundbreaking pilots. National Grid is also focused in making sure that all New Yorkers of all backgrounds have the skills and the support they need to take advantage of these opportunities. We're especially committed to opening doors for disadvantaged New Yorkers who all too often have been left behind during other transitions. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that our existing workforce has the training they need to succeed in the future. To that end, we provide fully paid retraining programs to our over 4,000 utility workers during the clean energy transition. Accelerating and expanding the amount of skilled workers in New York is going to be critical if we're going to meet our clean energy goals. And labor is going to provide a vital resource and be a critical partner in making that happen. I look forward to working with all the unions across New York to train the next generation of energy workers on the next generation of energy resources. So this week, everyone's focused on Climate Week and everyone's here in New York. Next week, most of them will go home. But the people in this room will still be here, building the reliable, clean networks that we all need to make sure we're delivering reliable and clean resources to all New Yorkers. I look forward to working with all of you. I look forward to working with communities across New York, our partners in Albany, and our partners in Washington to make sure we're delivering a stronger, smarter, and cleaner energy system. Thanks for your time today.